Heading overseas now, it's been a dramatic week in the world of British banking as the Barclays rate rigging scandal has unfolded. And as always, it seems the European financial crisis is going from bad to worse. For his take on what's been happening, I'm joined from London by David Buik from BGC Partners. And David, markets are sweating on the Bank of England pumping a lot more money into the British economy and also the European Central Bank cutting interest rates. Is it going to happen?
Well, I think as regards the ECB, and a very good evening to you, I think there is every chance that they are going to cut by 25 basis points to 75, at 0.75%. But also we're going to be much more interested in seeing what they've got to do about the type of collateral they're going to take. We need them to buy rather worse styled collateral than they have as well. And also, the other thing that's very important is to make sure that Mario Draghi sees that the politicians sees through the policies that they've implemented. We're getting lots of rhetoric, no action. As regards the Bank of England, we've got still the same problem. The second quarter in the UK, we're likely to see still in negative territory, maybe down to 0.1%. There will be almost certainly today at 12 noon, say in about half an hour's time, an announcement by the Monetary Policy Committee that they will increase quantitative easing Mark III by somewhere between 50 and 75 billion pounds. We've already got 325 billion pounds out there in the street already, and there is a case now that that will be taken to 400 billion, and there are some people out there saying in a year's time, if it's not working, it could go to 500 billion. It's a shocker for people in terms of interest rates. It has a devastating effect on the retail customer, but there is no other game in town at the moment, and we hope that the Bank of England will buy in lesser graded collateral, again in the same vein as the ECB has, to try and give the fillip to small and medium-term enterprises.
Well, grabbing the headlines this week, of course, has been the Barclays bank scandal. And last week on this program, you were a big supporter of Barclays' now former boss, Bob Diamond. What are your thoughts now?
Well, my thoughts now is that he's paid the price for being at the head of affairs through disgraceful behaviour of 14 of his subordinates. Barclays, of course, have stepped up to the plate before anybody else and paid a fine of £290 million. 240 million of that emanates from the United States of America. So the transgressions here in the UK are rather less than they are in America. And I believe Pandora's box may well have been opened, and we will see something like 12 or 15 banks also implicated down the line. I think what is disappointing for everybody is two things. First and foremost, that LIBOR has not been exposed for its shortcomings. It has been redundant since 2008, since the banking crisis, because there is no wholesale money market for long periods, i.e. 3, 6 months or 1 year. So where these fictitious rates come from for LIBOR, nobody knows, and that's why we've got this problem that we have. And we hope that the authorities will deal with that sooner rather than later. As a result of Bob Diamond going, of course, Moody's were not backward in coming forward in cutting Barclays, because they are concerned not so much about the bank, which is obviously as solid as a rock, but where do the earnings come, considering that Barclays Capital contribute 40 to 60% of the profits in the last 15 years. With Bob Diamond gone and Jerry Lemessier gone, and I suspect there will be others, it is going to leave a huge hole. And Marcus Aegis, the chairman for the time being, has got to really act quickly to replace the chief executive. And I suspect it may well be from a very conservative banking background with not much appetite for risk, and perhaps investment banking going on the back burner. I personally would like to see somebody like Hector Sanz get the job, who's just left the FSA. He ticks all the boxes. He worked for Credit Suisse. He's a very conservative banker, and also he has the mutual respect of everybody. So if somebody like him was appointed very quickly, I think Barclays' share price could well rally.
Well, David Buik, a lot more water still to flow under that bridge. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Great pleasure. Thanks for having me.